What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Mxbikes video. Today's video, pretty controversial topic going on right now in Mxbikes. Me personally, I so much so haven't even really been playing this game anymore, and you will soon find out why. What you're looking at right now is the SPX test track for 2026. Now, they have a groomed version of the track, and they have a rutted version of the track, which to some people may just be pretty typical, as pretty much every, at least replica track or test facility like this that we get every single year on the competitive side of the game generally comes with an AMS version that's not rutted, and then the Pro version that is rutted. Now, about today's video, because obviously this is pretty standard stuff. SPX has officially launched as the main sponsor for the aerial Supercross season. And you can take a moment here to read with me. Get ready for 2026. You get all of the Supercross tracks. The groomed versions with the Pro versions releasing on the day of. And they're also going to be incorporating an anti-cheat system. Not sure how that's going to work. I'll get into it because there's been a lot of drama going on in this game. But as you guys can tell here, they did 3D scans of all of the Monster Energy track maps of the Supercross series in real life. And incorporated the scans right into the game as groomed versions of the tracks are all released currently as we speak. So, what does that mean now for the community? Now, I think SPX being the title sponsor, obviously carrying the game suspension, and all of that kind of stuff is good and great. I think they did a great job on the tracks as usual, amazing graphics, a lot of effort is always put in. Now, what I have a problem with is that not only are they going to incorporate this anti-cheat system into the game, because I don't know if you guys live under a rock, but there is plenty of people now cheating in Mxbikes, which really kind of turned me off. As you guys know, I don't know how much of you followed me up until this point. I originally came from MX Simulator and was a top streamer on Twitch over there for the game, smaller community, so not saying much, but regardless, as I had been building a name for myself as far as the MX vs. ATV games go, where pretty much I'm sure all of us had started through console. I had a bunch of world records, a bunch of MXOT championships, some factory racing, all the big wigs over there I competed against. So I've always been a pretty competitive person and decently relevant in the dirt biking, simulator, MX competitive scene, if you will. So, along with being a pro rider in real life. So, that is why I have this channel. Those of you who are new here, please consider subscribing. It obviously doesn't cost you anything. And we touch on MX gaming on this channel pretty hardcore. And I'm not really going to hold back too much in this video, but here we are. I've been grinding MX Simulator, as you guys know who do follow me. I did decently okay in Pro-Am MXGP on Mxbikes here for the end of winter last year. Okay, I'm very rusty on the sticks, beyond rusty, and trying to play MX Simulator and getting decent at MX Simulator lately. I haven't touched this game in probably close to 6 months. I'm not going to lie. So don't mind my riding. That's not the point of the video. But in AMS, we run 250s. And most of you who watch me probably do as well, because I can't imagine any, or not very many 450 Pro guys that would absolutely smoke me. Watch my channel too much. But I'm here for the amateur gaming community as a whole, because I am pretty much there as well. At least I'm riding like one today. I don't really play third person, so like I said, guys, just disregard the gameplay. It's just here to entertain you while I rant a little bit. So with everything going on in this game, yeah, a lot of problems. They did a physics update. I know I said I was going to do a video on that. I never really got around to it. But yeah, so the physics update really didn't help much. I feel like the physics are not great in this game. A lot of things need to be fixed and stuff like that, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Being a 250 rider on these tracks in general is very, very difficult. Judging based off of how the scaling is going to be this year on the Supercross tracks, and I can't say that I'm a good Supercross rider. I am definitely not. I have failed by basically 0.2 of a second from qualifying into Pro-Am for the Pro qualifiers for every single Supercross round. I just missed the cusp every single time, and so on and so forth. So what they've done is they make the Pro-Am guys now qualify with the pros. So I got Trojan, Cam, you name it, everybody's in the lobby when I go to qualify. Well, now that they're on 450s, not so much anymore, but Rax and all that, all the top 250 guys are always in the lobby. You're trying to compete against them. You're seeing the lines. That's good and great. And then the top 40 that do not make the top 40, so the bottom 40, I should say, out of the 80 get qualified into Pro-Am. So when they introduced this system, it kind of screwed me because I just was missing the cusp every single time to even make these events in general. Now, the game being competitive and all that, that's good and great. So that's why there was no outdoor national footage of your boy on this game at all, and you guys were probably wondering, where the hell did I go? Well, now I'm even more unmotivated because, like I said, I've kind of been spending a lot more time on MX Simulator lately. And, yeah, just due to me kind of being at a standstill, I've kind of lost the feel on the sticks a little bit. I don't know what happened, but, switching over from games, this game feels super weird to me, and I'm kind of losing my skill. Now, what I'm not losing is a little bit of reality here. Now, I think I speak for all of us in the Pro-Am or amateur community in a nutshell, regardless of where you're at. The tracks that are now all released, there's going to be a lot of people who do not touch grass that are now going to be grinding these tracks, grinding these times, and stuff like that. I wish I could ride a little bit better for you to give you a little bit better of a comparison. But I'm going to tell you that it is definitely a huge advantage to sit there and grind these tracks. Now, the tracks used to release about 30 minutes before the qualifier would begin. So we had next to no time to practice any of these tracks. Now, in Ariel's defense, they're saying, well, our pro versions of the track that will still be releasing 30 minutes before every event is going to be the rutted version. So now switching over to the rutted version of this track for comparison of the scaling and what to expect this year. It does make a pretty big difference, as you can tell. However, if I was sharper on the game and I have been grinding the game, I would not be struggling like this. So don't mind the riding in this video. I really tried, I guess, but like I said, I haven't played, so I'm going to be all over the place. Do the ruts make it more difficult? Yes. Are those same people that are sitting there grinding the tracks in smooth conditions going to be able to adapt rather quickly? I would say also yes, because the rut physics in this game are a whole nother topic, but it's one of those things where it's the people with no jobs, no life, I'm truly convinced are going to absolutely dominate this Supercross season. And honestly, somebody like me who runs a business IRL and stuff of that nature, and of course rides in real life, is not really going to have time to sit here and grind all of the track maps and all of the smoothed out versions of the track to actually get my speed up to qualify. Because if I didn't qualify with nobody touching the track, now all the kids that don't touch grass are now going to now invade the community. Now, we touch on the scaling. So, scaling. Being a 250 Pro-Am rider, the 250 for Supercross has always been the biggest struggle ever for me. I've never been able to figure it out, and that may be just a me thing. However, with this kind of scaling on a 250, it just simply doesn't work. The physics in the game do not allow you to have enough speed to clear gaps, or if you make a mistake like I keep doing, it is very, very difficult to get back in rhythm. And if you are not perfect, you are not going to clear the section and you're going to lose a bunch of time. Now, I think that those things that make the game more challenging makes it more competitive, and I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world or a bad thing. However, it is very, very miserable, and mind you, I am on a top pro setup from SPX Performance for my suspension on this bike, but I have not touched this game in 6 months, so do not think that you're going to ride this terribly on the track, as I am. However, there's a reason I haven't played the game, and that's basically everything I'm here to touch on. And now with Supercross season pulling up, I'm not very motivated to even bother, to be honest. It's kind of pushed me away from the game a lot, because I know for a fact that if I was grinding those tracks 30 minutes beforehand, them adding ruts into the smoothed out versions of the tracks, and if there is no track changes IRL that they put into the game for the pro race, not only are we going to get inaccurate tracks compared to real life, but we're also just going to simply have to make an adjustment on adapting to these ruts and still hitting the same lines and everything anyway, and still grinding the times that you were, etc., that all these sweats and no life kids who don't touch grass are going to be doing now, so they can compete and work their way up into the pro ranks of Mxbikes. I've been taken back by this a lot. I feel like it's not just me that says this, but a lot of people are pretty pissed off about it. And me being on the cusp of Pro-Am, if any of you guys who watch me are in the same boat, you're probably in full agreement with what I'm saying here. If we're not at that AM level, we're graduated from AMs, but we're not exactly at a pro level, we are going to struggle more than anybody. The pros are still going to qualify. They can adapt. They can pretty much do anything. They're absolutely insane at the game. It's not really going to affect them much at all. Maybe a couple new faces may pop out for pro that we haven't heard of. I think that that's going to definitely be a thing with the new talent going to be arising, that now people can grind the tracks to get into these races, which I find to be ridiculous, which is why also I was racing EU for Supercross and all of that, and didn't even bother with NA, since NA has a good 8-hour window to grind the tracks before it actually begins for them. So yeah, for me, I like going into a track with no experience and everybody has a raw chance, and how good you are at the game really ends up showing. But on a 250 with this scaling, you mess up once, and I'm trying to show you that in this video, which is why it's all so terrible. If you don't hit everything perfectly, you are not getting over the jumps. If you wreck, you are screwed. So yeah, I think the game is going to be very, very, very difficult where we stand right now. Obviously, like I said, I will say it definitely will make a difference between smoothed out tracks. You're not obviously going to be as fast on the rutted versions, but if you are any good at the game, I don't believe it's going to be a necessarily make or break thing. I think you're going to be able to adapt and at least know your lines around the track and where the fast lines are, and it's going to take about maybe 30 minutes when the tracks come out. It'll probably take that 30-minute window to learn where and how to hit these same lines with the ruts now in place. Of course, there's E-Road and all of that are going to be a lot of factors. But the problem is, in my opinion, is the qualification, the way they do it, obviously by lap time. You're going to have all these hot lapper guys. And, like I said before, the kids who don't touch grass that are going to world record every track and be the fastest 250 guys and whatnot on all the smoothed out versions. And it's already very competitive in the online servers as it is. You're either going to have them adapt quickly and be able to hot lap, but then the race is going to turn, to lack of a better word, to complete shit once the E-Road and all of that comes into play, because the people that were only riding the smooth tracks and grinded those tracks. They may have next to no skill at the game. They just mastered, A1. So you could sit there and grind a track for how long? You're going to be good at that track, whether you want to believe it or not. The thing is they're going to be able to qualify for that Pro-Am position. Let's say they take it right from me, but then they get lapped 4 or 5 times in the race because the second they're dealing with the ruts and E-Road, yeah, that's great. You got one good lap in, so it qualified you into the Pro-Am class. But in reality, you don't have any racecraft, and you're going to have these races now filled with pretty much a bunch of idiots who, may ride like me in this game, since I've been rusty. But yeah, it's going to be very difficult. And as you can see, these 250s, the second you make a mistake, you're not going to be able to clear anything because of the scaling. So it's kind of, in my opinion, looking like a recipe for disaster. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I've honestly, ever since I heard this news and I was kind of getting back on my Mxbikes grind for, I would say a good week or two, started feeling myself, started feeling the game again, riding some outdoor stuff and starting to do some Supercross testing and winning some pub lobbies and stuff like that. I started to feel pretty good about it and pretty excited, to be honest, to go into the Supercross season. But now with this bombshell that was just dropped on all of us, not so much, so on and so forth. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of people pretty upset with this, especially being on a 250, considering I think a lot of these tracks in this game, especially for Supercross now, are definitely going to be more conformed to a 450, which I think the 450 in this game makes the game feel a hell of a lot more realistic. But I can't really speak on that for everybody. I haven't spent much time on a 450, but yeah, guys, I'm not happy. I'm sure a lot of the Pro-Am riders are also not happy because if they're going to keep this scaling into the game, the 250s are not only going to struggle in general, but now you're going to have all the track grinders who can easily adapt to ruts and are now going to be sandbagging the Pro-Am and amateur ranked classes, along with probably some of that drama going to be transferring into the pro ranks as well, as some of these people are already grinding lap times and world record lap times on everything. So I want to hear from you guys. I mean, obviously the tracks are always beautiful. The Stone Rider does a great job on everything, but what does this mean? Is this a money grab for the game? Is Mxbikes dying? Are they going to do the same thing even for the outdoor tracks? Is the competitive Pro-Am scene in this game completely cooked? Is there going to be a lot new faces that are going to struggle and qualify for pro, but then make the pro races a disaster? I don't know. That's how I'm feeling about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll leave you with that. Good luck in your 2026 season.